All right, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're starting to see some glimmers of hope in the Champions League, and we're here to enjoy and kind of share together these moments of collective joy or pain or sorrow or boredom. So, watching a game of football, watching your team, sharing that with people local, international, all that kind of stuff. Super important. I have my group chat with my friends, watching Arsenal. It's one of the few links I have these days to making sure that you're connecting with the people you love all the time, and making friends and making digital friends and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna be super excited for this video today, which is a new thing we're trying on the channel, a little bit of a stream of one of the more momentous games. I'm sure everyone watched it. Real Madrid versus Arsenal, first leg of the Champions League quarterfinals 2025. Arsenal did well in the group stages of this competition, just came through, and now we got the draw up against Real Madrid. The winner of this game goes to the semifinal, and from the semifinal to the final, obviously. So, in touching distance of some success for the season, which Arsenal has just time again this season shied away from, instead of taking their chances, instead of making those steps necessary to progress, whether that be the transfer window in January, the ability to maybe sign a striker or some creativity, or bring something else to the team that would give us the strength and the fuel to go forward and challenge Liverpool in the league, although it was a long shot at that point. All the injuries, all the red cards this season, all of the disappointment, there were chances to turn that around and try to make something out of the league season, that did not materialize and will not materialize in my opinion. FA Cup, League Cup, very disappointing exits, for both of those there. And so, what else do you have left in the season? Well, we've got the Champions League going on. We've waited a long time, after Arsene Wenger, to come back into the Champions League. We're finally back there with Arteta. And we're doing pretty well this year. This is our second year back. Um, and But coming up against Real Madrid, the holders, the biggest club in the world, so much magic and history on their side. Against Arsenal, a team that has very little European pedigree whatsoever to speak of. Very little success. There was the disappointment, obviously, in 2006, and just having that game get taken away from you with a red card early on, have things almost go your way, but not, at the very end with with our greatest generation, in my opinion, of Arsenal stock. I mean, that was a huge disappointment, and something that I think that set the stage for about 20 years of failure in Europe for Arsenal. And so, we're writing our own story here. We're newcomers on this stage, and it's one of those things that Arsenal fans can't really have chest about. Coming out and saying that we expect to have success in Europe is not something that we're used to pronouncing very much. And we're still waiting for our special moments in Europe, as a lot of other teams have had. And so these special nights, they're awesome. You see the atmosphere. It's a really incredible, thing to witness on television. I'm sure it's an even more incredible thing to witness in person. But we are still thirsting for these special nights. And so on its own, this game was, um, a marker, with very, very limited success in Europe, of special nights that Arsenal can remember in Europe. We know that there's a second leg to come. If there is any team in the world that can come back from a three goal deficit, and erase that, and make Arsenal's special night into one of the more disappointing and thudding nights, um, later on, and an unceremonious exit after setting us up so nicely in the first leg, it's Real Madrid. They have the firepower. It was even evident during the game that they have the firepower to hurt you at any time. At any time whatsoever, they can hurt you. Mbappe seems to eat up the pitch. And so this was something that, this is something we definitely have to be aware of. We definitely have to get through that second leg in the Bernabeu. Um, It's not going to be easy, but we have put ourselves in about a good as position as we possibly could. We love to have had that a fourth goal, but this game was just utter domination, and just not only utter domination, but had so many special moments to just enjoy and rewatch and talk about amongst Arsenal fans. I've been so disconnected from the Arsenal content over the last few weeks and months, just as the season has slipped away in so many respects. But now, do we have that sign of life? And something interesting to talk about and fun to talk about, and something that can kind of allow us to escape from these days that seem to repeat themselves. Living under these types of conditions, isolated. Can we get some connection back? Can we get some enjoyment back? And can we make some digital friends here? So, thank you so much for joining us on this watch along, and trying to figure out what made this game special? What was what did it feel like to watch this game? What are the things we can pick out in our second watch along here after the fact? We enjoyed everything. We let the feelings wash over us. Now let's go try to relive it a little bit, and understand just understand all the things that were happening in our heads and our hearts during this game. So we're gonna get into it here. We'll get into the watch along. This is gonna be fun for me. I hope you all have a good time as well. Here we go. Starting lineup for Arsenal. Ryan goal, obviously. We've got Lewis Skelly, Kivior, Saliba, and Timber at the back. Saliba and Timber speaks for themselves. Two of the best performers on our team. Miles Lewis Skelly, we'll talk about a little bit during the game, but this guy at 18 years of age to be doing what he's doing, the confidence with which he plays, just unbelievable. I think he's got about as bright a future as any. And he's always going to be compared to Ethan one area as he's coming through. And obviously, in one area, he had those plaudits as being one of the youngest players ever to debut in the Premier League. If not the youngest, if I'm not mistaken. But Lewis Skelly has really come on the scene and been more consistent. One area has had those moments of magic, but Arteta has shown a great deal of trust in Lewis Skelly, and that is something that's been borne out over the course of this game, and over the course of the season. Really can't speak highly enough of this young man, coming through the ranks. Shows no fear, shows great deals of confidence. It's just a joy to watch him play because I think that's something that has been missing in this Arsenal team over the years. Jakub Kivior comes in with a lot of question marks. A lot of folks are calling for different people to start during this game. My opinions on Kivior have always been, he could use some more time in the team. He's obviously coming to a new country. He's a young man. No one knew too much about him coming from the Polish league. I think it's been a big step for him kind of getting up to speed in the Premier League. He should be there now. We should be starting to see those leaps and jumps that he should be making if he is going to turn into a top class center back or at least a solid center back. I think he has the tools. I'm not sure if Arsenal is the team in which he's going to be able to accomplish that. But obviously he needs some more game time and opportunities to make his mark. So a solid backline here. Arteta showing confidence in both Lewis Skelly and Kivior. But the strength of that backline is obviously Saliba and Timber. In the midfield, Rice, Thomas, Odegaard. This was the midfield I think that a lot of folks wanted to see when Rice was bought. We were always waiting for that solid base, that all the running and ground covering that Thomas Partey and Declan Rice can do for your team. And then Odegaard with the creativity. I think Odegaard has really, really struggled since he's come back from injury. Obviously, there's all the work he does to run the press. He's basically like the little, general on the pitch for Arteta. Arteta obviously loves him. Um, Obviously, a very coachable player, and so coaches are going to love him. But he has just not provided the creative spark that's necessary for this team. In the absence of Saka, who came back in this game, just nothing coming down that right side, and when there's nothing coming down the left side either because of all the injuries that we have, that gets really exposed, and he has a tendency to hide. He has a tendency to kind of be a light touch on things, pulling out of challenges. I think Odegaard has a lot of work to do to rebuild his reputation with Arsenal fans at this point. He's got some money in the bank, but he needs to start scoring goals. He needs to start creating goals. He needs to start taking games by the scruff of the neck. That means getting on the ball in the final third, making something happen, making sure that those passes connect, being on the same page with all the attackers. and taking control of the game with the ball at his feet. It's been too easy to shove him off the ball, um, too easy to kind of, he's tried these kind of flicks and these little flicks over the top that you think might work. When an untrained eye looking at professional footballers and watching professional soccer, a lot of times you see that space in behind, and you try to, I think the FIFA generation tries to do those flicks in behind. They never work. They never work. And when it does work, it's just the most incredible play of all time. But it's a once in a season thing where some of those things get pulled out of the bag once or twice in a season. It's not a consistent attacking strategy, and um, it's more about angles, understanding runs, understanding timing. Those are the things that I think Odegaard is lacking at right now, and really needs to improve in this game against Real Madrid. He was carried for most of the game. I didn't see a lot of movement from him. He needs to do better, but he'll have the opportunity to continue to prove himself in our Arteta's team. Rice and Partey, man of the match performances between the two of them, especially Rice. As we'll get into watch log to see, but very, very solid midfield here. I think a lot of folks would like to see this going forward. And then we have Martinelli coming back, Marino, and Saka. So Martinelli and Saka on the wings. Martinelli has started to get his mojo back a little bit over the last couple of weeks. He's kind of finally realized to kind of. I think the coaching has told him to simplify, to take on his man, get back to the basics, be a winger, stop, obviously do his defensive work, which he's great at, but to start to take people on, to start to get his confidence back. You're going to fail a few times. You have to be understand that, but a lot of folks can't live with you, and you need to be the aggressor in these situations and not kind of take what the defense gives you. You need to go and take what you want from the defender in these situations. He gave Valverde a torrid time in this game. Didn't get a lot to show for it, but he was definitely lively, and I think had a good game overall. Saka has shown himself time and time again to be that player that is on the cusp of world class. A lot of folks might say he's world class at this point. I think he's there. A lot of folks are saying after the game. There was supposedly an interview. I didn't really watch this interview, but apparently there's an interview. They were talking to Saka and saying, what do you have to do to get on Vinicius' level? What do you have to do to get on these different kind of wingers levels? And Saka was like, what are you talking about? Like, did you not watch this game? I've been the best player in an England versus France game. I've been the best player in this Real Madrid game. Like, other wingers gotten shut down where I have been able to affect games in ways that and in big moments that have moved things forward for club and country. And he is really the talisman of this team. And he makes things happen with a smile, which is always great to see. I think Saka's demeanor really endears him to people. It's going to stand us in good stead going forward. But he's really starved and can kind of agree about, barring just bitter fans from other teams or rivals. But Saka's just an amazing player, and I think there's the best is still to come from him. And he's starting to get that. He's starting to get that responsibility and that aura about him of consistency, and expectation of world class level performances. There will be those performances here or there where he doesn't come through. Salah doesn't score every game, but he's really getting that going. And Mikel Merino stepping in at center forward. I was very frustrated with him a couple times in this game. We'll get to that. But he's done a manful job. Never playing that position, center forward in the past. You got to hand it to the guy stepping in and taking the coaching and understanding the movement that's necessary. But we do need a center forward. That's definitely evidence. Berta coming in the front office for Arsenal was one of the first pieces of good news that started to come down for Arsenal. That started to get me more interested in covering and understanding what's going on at Arsenal, reading more news, watching more podcasts, things like that. I think the striker that comes in this summer, which a striker does need to come in this summer. I'll be very clear about that. This team needs a striker. This team needs more creativity. I think we've got a really solid base. We may need a couple of replacements here or there as things come and go, but the front line I think really needs the revamp at this point. We've got a few stars there, but the front line really needs that extra oomph, that extra finisher that can steal games for us when we're not playing well, that can take advantage of chances that are half chances at this point. And there was a couple chances in this game where those center forward runs were extremely lacking, and you could just see the glaring hole there in our attack where Marino should have been, but obviously it's not his fault. He's not our center forward, so he got his goal in this game, and it was a great finish. The third of three incredible finishes in this game that will, I think, live it very long in Arsenal memories. But he's done an okay job. Not good enough to win a league, obviously, but maybe he'll be able to cover the cracks long enough to get us maybe through a couple more games and perhaps to Champions League final. We'll see. So that's the team for Arsenal. Real Madrid's team, I don't know very much about it. Obviously they've been playing a few. I think they've been struggling a little bit in La Liga. I don't know very much about that season. It's the perennial struggle between Real Madrid, Barcelona, and every once in a while Atletico or another challenger gets in there. But they're obviously favorites to win the league every year. Maybe the best goalkeeper in the world, Courtois, one of the better central defenders in the world, Rudiger, David Alaba, Valverde does everything he possibly can. Really impressive player from Uruguay. Bellingham, Camavinga, impressive midfield. Looks like it's designed to basically break down Arsenal's block. Modric is in there. Rodrigo, very attacking and open setup from Ancelotti and from Madrid. Obviously, Vinny and Mbappe up front. They can. Madrid does not fear anyone for very obvious reasons, and they're ready to attack at any time. And that's what they were prepared to do this game. They almost got there a few times, but Arsenal was able to come up with the defensive resources to stop them, even when they had some of the most clear-cut chances in the first half. Credit to our defenders. I'm sure their attackers will be disappointed with some of the chances that they wasted, but that's football. And at the end of the day, this was una paliza, they say here in Argentina. Um, this was quite a shellacking, especially in the second half. So we're underway for our watch along. Let's get into it. New experiment here on the analysis. A new experiment trying to synthesize everything that's going on with Arsenal, and just reliving this game, which has been such a breath of fresh air and a breath of hope and a breath of sunlight and a ray of sunlight for so many Arsenal fans, and something that's caused a lot of folks to kind of be able to plug back into this Arsenal atmosphere, this Arsenal global fan base that we have, and let's all enjoy it together. So, first little mistake there from Kivior. We're in the This is the first shot from Mbappe. Kivior tries to step and misses the ball, but there's just a little jittery mistake there, trying to do a little bit too much. Gives Mbappe the ball around the edge of the box. He wants to take a shot on, he does, but it's pretty tame, straight to Raya. And now we're seeing Raya in the ball. Arsenal building up from the back. 4-4-2 structure from Madrid here on the press. Vinny and Mbappe up front for a bank of four in the midfield. As Arsenal try to build out from the back here, playing it back and forth, Saliba and Raya and Kivior. Partey dropping back. Here's Odegaard. He's found a little bit of space on the right side. A lot of space there. He's allowed to go forward until Rudiger finally challenges him. And he's got it over to Saka, who gives it back to Odegaard. Lewis Skelly there stepping into the midfield in his inverted role. He dwells on the ball a little bit too aggressive from Rodrigo. Concedes the foul there. And Arsenal gets the ball in midfield. Here's Odegaard and out to Saka on the wing. He's got a little bit of isolation here on Alaba. Very pacey left back. And so, Saka's not necessarily known as the most pacey winger of all time. He's obviously fast, and he's obviously very agile and can use that to his advantage against a lot of left backs and a lot of backs in general. But he's not the most pacey. So Alaba, I was thinking was going to be a bit of a challenge for him. Um, and there he's just shown a little bit of his confidence and ability to carry the ball. He gets the ball on the right wing. He starts to challenge Modric at the ripe old age of 39. A little flick off of his left foot to come back inside, and Modric brings him down right at the edge of the corner of the box. And so this is the second free kick to the game for Arsenal, but the first one in an attacking position. We've got Kivior, Odegaard, and Saka over the ball. Yeah, so Kivior's con- communicating with Odegaard, bringing the message back to the folks lining up at the back post here for the free kick. But it's going to be Odegaard with on the left foot. 3 minutes gone here. Yeah, a low driven, and this is the first big mistake of the game. Saka trying to play it back to Odegaard. He thought he was going there, and Vinicius was away. He had Mbappe right there in the middle. Trying to cross it into him on the ground low. Saliba, I love the position Saliba takes here. He's one on one basically with Vinicius. No one else is back. He knows that Mbappe is crashing into the middle of the field. He's trying to maintain a position where he's not challenging Vinicius, but allowing him to kind of come on and not provoking too much space there to allow Vinicius to just play the ball easily into the center for Mbappe for an easy shot on goal. He was able to split the difference really, really well there. That was really heady defending from Saliba. Obviously, he's got the physical characteristics to keep up with him. So you're just showing there how, when we talk about a Rolls-Royce defender in terms of William Saliba, this is exactly what we're talking about. He's got the stability, he's got the head on his shoulders, he's got the confidence, he's got the news to be able to diffuse that situation against two of the best attackers in the world. And so, that's a huge, huge deal that he was able to kind of get that block in, read the ball, and have the wherewithal to slow down that attack. Amazing defending from William Saliba. That's worth a goal in my opinion. Arsenal have been trying this little throw to the byline. I think this is one of the innovations that Nicolas Jova, the set piece coach, has really brought in to Arsenal. Here's a little cross across the box, or a little dribbling cross across the box. Saka got the better of the left back on the right side. And was able to get a little crossing with his right foot, just right into the six box, just begging for a center forward to come in and smash that home. But obviously, where's Marino? Nowhere to be found. So this is exactly what we're talking about, where we need a center forward. There's a few of these chances like this in this game that got repeated, but I was just saying about Nicolas Jova on those throw-ins. When we're in that kind of attacking third area where a lot of throw-ins happen, it's a lot of time very difficult for the attacking team to find any space to throw the ball in because the defense is in their shape, and they can mark really easily, and there's not a lot of space down in that corner. And so where do you find the space? So I think Jova's innovated a little bit. This is one of the good things I think I've seen from him is if you make a run down the byline toward the goal, you can kind of throw the ball into the path of the attacker that's making the run in. It's a really dangerous ball if you can get a handle of it. The difficult part is controlling it in that little space there. So you have to have really, really good ball skills to be able to bring down the ball from the throw in, control it. You're already heading towards goal, so you're set up, but it's really tough, I think, piece to perform. But I think it's a good innovation in terms of trying to find a little bit of attacking advantage there in the final third, which is oftentimes not available to folks. Three of those midfielders, and that's a good example of the two outside backs basically playing a midfield role with Partey there. Rice pushed up the field, and so it's kind of that kind of 3-2 structure. So you've got the two center backs at the back, and you've got Partey in the middle. And then you've got the two outside backs that are inverted in and kind of making that switch of play. You could say, I mean, I think this is debatable, but that switch of play a little bit more secure at least. Timber to Partey to Lewis Skelly, and then Lewis Skelly out to the wing. So it allows us to kind of push the wingers a little bit wider and take up all of those attacking slots. As part of the jogo de posición that Arteta and Guardiola love to play, but Saliba there almost on one of those corners. Saliba kind of gets doubled over. He doesn't really expect the ball to come to him. He's trying to get out of the way of it, actually, but it hits him he's on literally the 2 yard line, and the ball hits him basically in the leg, and he doesn't know what to do about it because he's ducking over and he can't finish. But if he had just kind of been a little more alert there, The Courtois kind of gave him a little arm in the back. But if he was a little more alert there, that could have been goal number one. Pretty easy finish there for Saliba. It was unmarked on the keeper. Yeah, so Marino's taken the position of kind of the center spoke of this kind of attacking line for Arsenal. Rice and Marino are the highest up, and then we have our wingers high and wide. And then we trust basically Timber and Lewis Skelly to be the extra midfielders in there, and then we have obviously Saliba and Kivior at the back to clean anything up. But they're also basically point guards to the offense, trying to start off each attack. But there's kind of intermediaries there. 11 minutes gone. Arsenal's got a throw in they're attacking right side in that little quadrant we were just talking about, where it's hard to find space. He's found Odegaard, who's able to slip it back to Timber really well. Able to get through a couple of players and probably fouled on the edge of the box there, on the left side of the box by Camavinga, but nothing given by the referee. The referee was really getting on our nerves as Arsenal fans at the beginning of this game. Seemed to give a lot of things in Real Madrid's favor. That kind of general unsympathy for Arsenal players as they went down, but any kind of little touch on Madrid, that was a foul. We see that so much in the Premier League. We get so frustrated about it. It's so frustrating to have that in Europe as well. But that's what Real Madrid. It's royalty, right? So that's what they do, and that's what they're kind of used to. And when you understand how to win those fouls with confidence, it's almost a skill at that point. So we've got Raya on the ball. Arsenal trying to do their build up here. Out to Saliba on the right. Finds Odegaard in the middle. Back through the midfield. Partey, great turn away from Rodrigo to start the attack. And now we've got Declan Rice running at the defense. Out to Martinelli. Can he take him on? Yes, he takes him on the left foot. A great cross to the box and is creating a chance for Arsenal. And Partey, this is the little kind of Partey had the shot on the edge of the box. He tries to skim it along the turf. Does maybe gets a deflection, maybe something or other there. Could have put a little bit more power on it, but I think he tried to control it, trying to get it on net. It's a good strike. Just needed to be either corner, and that was a goal. Because it was low and hard, but unfortunately, straight at Courtois didn't get the deflection that it needed. Good chance for Arsenal, created by Martinelli again. That's exactly what we need to see from Martinelli, taking on the left back or taking on the right back in that situation, getting the ball into the box where it's into a dangerous area. You never know what could happen in there. Bounced around a little bit, came out to Partey on the edge of the box. Good strike at goal. Could have been a goal. Could have been a goal. Good chance for Arsenal on the initial shot. There was a shot from Rice here on the left foot. It was kind of an awkward height for Martinelli to cross the ball in with his left foot. Kind of comes in at like waist height for Declan Rice. He gets over it and really well. He jumps up and gets over the ball. Tries to side foot it with his left. Kind of hit the Madrid defender. He is making his body bigger here with his arm, but I think it's nowadays. I don't think you're going to get that given. It's just so close, and it's not necessarily that strange of a position. So they end up not giving this penalty. Marino's back there defending. It's one of the benefits of having a center defensive midfielder as your center forward. The disadvantage is that if you get the ball back, there's no one to give it to. So we're reduced to just trying to pass it on the back and setting up our offense again. But we just have no counter-attacking threat to speak of, and it's one of the things that really reduces the amount of chances that Arsenal has in games and reduces the amount of excitement that we have in the game because we just have no ability to counterattack. Marino's, it's great that you're helping defend, but there's really no way to counterattack when you're back there. So that's how Arteta has chosen to set this team up. It's a very confident performance from both teams. I think they're feeling each other out a little bit. I think Arsenal fans, we're just used to getting. We've had a lot of bad experiences over the last few years, just getting shellacked by these big teams. I think at this point in the game, I was just kind of happy that it wasn't looking like another shellacking. Both teams were pretty confident. We had given away the ball away a couple times, but nothing really to speak of in terms of one side being more dominant. Arsenal looking good, really. A lot of couple individual performances. Lewis Skelly just slotted a magnificent ball into Martinelli on the run, through ball behind the defense after beating one player in the midfield. This player, I mean, what can you say about him? 18 years of age, the confidence to beat one man and then play a quality ball in behind for the winger. He's just showing bags and bags of quality, and it's a joy to watch him every week. One of the bright spots in the Arsenal team, really. We're 19 and a half minutes in. Real Madrid is passing the ball around the back. You can see Arsenal's press really working, I think, at this point. You've got Odegaard and Moreno leading the press. They're not finding the outlets, and Courtois just had to play it long. It's really showing the quality of Arsenal's press. Our midfielders pushed high up, marking high up the field, the confidence to leave Saliba and our back line isolated against some of the better attackers in the world in Mbappe and Vinicius. It almost led to their little through ball from Arsenal that was able to get us in behind with Marino, but he just didn't have the speed, and that's the really frustrating thing. Partey intercepts the ball in the middle of the field, and we try to get it back, but then there's a little foul, you could say. Odegaard getting pushed off the ball again. You gotta protect the ball in those situations. And it springs Madrid on a counterattack. Vinicius strikes a little bit wide, a little bit of a tame effort there, but that was from, first of all, Marino not having the pace to take advantage of the amazing through ball on the counterattack that we were just talking about, and then second of all, Odegaard gets in the ball, coming forward with the ball, and he doesn't have the strength to ride a challenge or to do a trick to get the defender off of his back, or just to release the ball. He kind of dwells on it a little bit too long, hoping his quality can keep him alive there, and he got tackled off the ball, and almost bullied off the ball in certain ways, and you just got to have more from him. He's now all the way out on the right side here looking for the ball, but got to have more from Odegaard. 1 minute's gone here. Raya all the way out of his box, taking a throw in from Saliba. Just kind of one of those routine little throw ins on the outside. No pressure at all on the ball, but Saliba just kind of finds himself with the ball at the touch line. Just has to throw the ball into the keeper. You expect him to throw it long to get to Raya. He just kind of dinks it, and then Raya comes into the picture. He's literally 10 yards away from Saliba. It's all the way out of his box. That's something that we're still getting used to as Arsenal fans. 23 minutes gone, y'all. The game seemed like it was settling down a little bit, but we just mentioned at the very, very beginning a little bit of a mistake there from Kivior, over pursuing on one of the balls in the first couple of seconds of the game. In this instance, he's got the ball on the left side, trying to set up an attack. Doesn't see any space, turns it back around, tries to play Saliba back. It's a terrible ball, back to Saliba, and Mbappe and Vinicius are right on the ball. In a flash, they get to it almost before Saliba. Saliba tries to make a last-ditch challenge. It kind of bounces around and comes to Vinicius, who's able to play in Mbappe, and it's a huge chance. And Mbappe definitely could have scored on this. Timber injured, just an unforced error there from Kivior. A little bit more composure on the ball, play it all the way back to Raya. I'm not sure, but he's got to be more confident playing that ball back. And people are giving Kivior a lot of plaudits during this game, but he's had a couple of errors so far that show how jittery he is when the ball's at his feet. Definitely needs to do a lot more work to have that composure, to build that confidence with his teammates and with the manager to be able to hold down this position, because that was just terrible and almost led to a just unforced counterattack goal from Mbappe. In maybe 50% of the time, Mbappe buries that. So really bad error there, and it also led to an injury for Timber. Those are the Spanish commentary there. I agree with their analogy. Arsenal is looking like the more solid, the more composed team in this game. Madrid's quality is there, but Arsenal is dominating more of the ball. They seem more composed on it. They seem to be constructing things. in a more deliberate and deliberate way. But the thing that I was feeling, and that you still feel, and that has happened almost a few times, is Madrid are a danger in any situation at any time. If there's just you make the smallest mistake and they could punish you lightning quick. Mbappe, Vinicius on the ball, here Mbappe getting the ball in the midfield, being able to turn, and then he just sprints past our defense, and there he is in the ball again. I mean, it's just incredible to watch the speed with which Madrid can attack. Such a sharp attack. They are so dangerous. They just don't, they're sending, three or four folks forward, and they just don't quite have the connectivity, I think, to break Arsenal down. But it's really on those counterattacks where they can have their way with Arsenal, with even the slightest mistake, and so that's where you see kind of losing the ball in the midfield with Odegaard. Kivior making a little unforced error at the back. Those are the type of things that can really hurt you in this game, and those are things that Madrid is trying to exploit. Just alongside there, just some type of moment of brilliance from Vinny or from Mbappe. Yeah, so another kind of example there. Madrid just are not finding the angles. Arsenal is very solid at the back, solid in the midfield, really well drilled. And Madrid is just not finding the ways to get through, and it's causing them to send some long balls. Obviously they have a lot of confidence that they're going to be able to get on the end of those with the pace that Mbappe and Vinicius and Rodrigo can offer. But we just saw an example there of not very much on, and Valverde just kind of dumps it into the zone for Mbappe to chase, and Arsenal's able to deal with it easily and come away with the ball. So you know, very good job so far from Arsenal's defense, other than those little unforced errors, mostly coming from Kivior. Arsenal back on the ball now. Odegaard had a little chance to try to turn someone at the edge of the box. Arsenal kind of growing into the game progressively, really now dominating the ball. Madrid, as I mentioned, they can get the ball back, but they're really trying to do something more quickly. They're not trying to possess it. They probe, and then they try to do something. Arsenal's much more content to just kind of probe with the ball, play it backwards, keep possession, put their foot on the ball, short little passes to the midfield, find little spaces. Ooh, unfortunately, a bad pass from Miles Lewis-Skelly there. He saw Saka. There were a few passes in the middle of the field, disorienting Madrid, and then we were able to get a run from Saka into the space behind that was vacated, and just Lewis-Skelly put the ball behind him. The best chance of the game for Madrid. It comes really from Vinicius had a little bad pass in the midfield, and Saliba was able to step into it. It created a little bit of confusion in the midfield, but Saliba was checked up, chasing the ball in the midfield. There was a little bit of a kind of a scramble for the ball, and Bellingham does really well, turns away on the edge of the around midfield, and is able to turn away with the ball, find someone in the middle that is able to release Mbappe in behind the defense. As I mentioned, Saliba had vacated, and Mbappe was in one with Raya. Super tame effort, and Arsenal gets away with it again. But those are these are little tiny little moments that just show the prowess of Madrid to create a spectacular goal move out of nothing, virtually just at the drop of a hat, where there's the slightest discombobulation or miscommunication at the back. Saliba out of position, Mbappe able to get in behind, and just strikes it straight at Raya. Raya had it covered. Luckily, not only does he have it covered, he covers the rebound as well. Huge save from Raya here. But Mbappe will be kicking himself. He knows. He knows that was the chance. Just after that, there was another kind of slip from Saliba that allowed them to get in, but Timber covered it well. Good to see that he's back up, and running around after there was a bit of an injury scare there with his knee. After that, the first Kivior mistake where he played the ball back and it didn't make it. Almost 33 minutes gone. Again, Arsenal's press is doing really well. If they're getting under Courtois' skin, he's sending the ball along. It's working out because Arsenal's getting the ball, but they're just not able to sometimes corral it in midfield, and Madrid has the quality to kind of bring it down and launch an attack even off the back of just Courtois basically clearing the ball from the defensive zone. Madrid seems to be waking up a little bit after that Mbappe chance. They got a little corner out of it. They're devoting a little bit more attackers forward. Mbappe able to kind of get the better of Odegaard here, retaining the ball. Saka again back to Odegaard, trying to play a little game on the with the triangles on the edge of the box, but doesn't come off. Partey is able to retain possession. Back into the attacking zone here. Timber to Partey, back to Saliba. This is the five, right? This is the 3-2, and the it's like acts as almost a net there, kind of able to they want to be close to each other, and they want to be close enough to each other to be able to ping the ball around, retain possession, dominate that zone. There's Skelly with the throw on the left. He's able to find Rice. Madrid are not marking very well. They're as you'd expect them to be. They're kind of lax about it. What they really want to do is be on the counter attack, and so they're just looking for a little mistake. They're not. They tend to defend this way. They just kind of don't really worry about it too much. They depend on their individual quality to bail them out, almost as a strategy. Oh, such a terrible call there from the ref. Vinicius with Timber marking the daylights out of him. Can't get away. He goes. He feels a little bit something. He tries to run after the ball. He realizes he's going to lose it, and Vinicius just goes down, and the ref gives it to him. Such a blatant dive. Such a weak play from Vinicius, and Timber couldn't believe it. But those are the kinds of things that were getting on our nerves. Here we are, 35 minutes in. We're looking like a competent team. We're looking like we could get something out of this game. But it's pretty even right now. We're just hoping no kind of mental errors come back to bite us here. But that kind of stuff on the ref is just infuriating. Just giving them more help when they don't need it. And they don't deserve it either. They haven't done anything. All they've done is waste a couple of good counterattacks. Yeah, they're looking for those little runs in behind at any point. Trying to get behind Arsenal's defense. I mean, it's not going to work. One of the things that Arsenal likes to do is have Raya kind of out of the box to deal with any of those crosses. We've devoted so many players back that our back line can really absorb a lot of those runs through the into the space behind. It's not a great strategy from Madrid, in my opinion. I mean, what is a good strategy against such 11 players defending, right? I mean, again, there's Saka on the right wing. He gets the better of Alaba on the right foot. This is something that Saka has demonstrated multiple times. He's really ambidextrous. He's able to get on the right foot and put in good crosses. Another low cross into the box, straight across the six. Where's the center forward? Where? Where? Where is the center forward? We need the center forward. This game could be 3-0 either way at this point. I mean, there's at least 2-0. I mean, there's been a couple of chances, Saka across the box, a couple of corners that Arsenal could have scored on. Madrid has had 2 or 3 golden opportunities on the counter attack from Arsenal errors. 0-0 right now, but this could be 3-3. Again, kind of Madrid trying to play the long ball to get out of the Arsenal press. They just have the quality to be able to do that. If you're playing against any other team, that press is going to be suffocating. But against Madrid, they're able to get out of the press and set up an attack. But once they get here, this isn't really where they want to be. Kind of passing the ball around the back. We've got Mbappe in the middle. You've got Vinicius. They're really close to each other. They're trying to find that opening. They're trying to say, like, how can we make a run in? Looks like Mbappe's on Kivior. We've got Vinny on Saliba. Alaba on the left. Back to Vinny. Trying to pass the ball around. I mean, Bellingham in there trying to do his thing. Camavinga in the middle. They're trying to pass the ball around, trying to find that opening. But Arsenal's dealing with it relatively well at this point. There's always 2 or 3 folks around the ball for Arsenal, and they're not able to find that opening. They're passing around. They're trying to open them up, but they have to keep going backwards. And they're back again to Asensio. and all the way back to Courtois, and that draws a big cheer from the crowd. Arsenal crowd here, very much engaged. Good retention from Riice. Bouncing ball in the center of the park. He's able to settle it down. And now here's Saka with some space in behind Alaba. Does he want to take him? No, he's going to play it back to Odegaard in the middle, who puts a good ball into Saka again across the face of goal. Marino is behind it. Martinelli was crashing, just a little bit behind Martinelli, but another great opportunity from Saka. Great ball from Odegaard. Reads the diagonal ball in behind Alaba, who's got pace. I mean, again, we're talking about Saka being able to hold his own with some of the pacier left backs, as long as he and Odegaard are on the same page, understanding where they're going with the ball. They have the ability to dismantle any defense there. But Odegaard with quick thinking there and able to get the pass off to Saka. Great run from him. But unfortunately, just not that kind of intelligent center forward movement in the box to make the pass clear to Saka. He kind of splits the difference between Martinelli and Marino there, and not able to come up with the goal. But just a delicious chance here to get in. That's the third time Saka's put in one of these right-footed lower crosses, and you just have someone standing at the 6, and they would just be the easiest finish in the world, but just no one's there. Trying to play the ball in again, Madrid. There's just nothing there. And Arsenal's grown in confidence here. They've seen that Arsenal is able to hurt Madrid. From set offense. We're not talking about counterattacks here. We're talking about getting a little bit of space in the wing, playing it around in those triangles on the outside, and finding some space that Saka's been able to exploit. Martinelli's gotten in a couple of times. Odegaard, when he's not dwelling on the ball, has been able to put in a couple of good balls. So, Partey, Timber dominating the midfield alongside Lewis Skelly. Solidity at the back. Arsenal able to do what they want on offense here. They're just dominating possession, picking their moments. Saka confidently going past Alaba. A little bit of a pullback there that didn't really come off. Awesome covering from Thomas Partey to just cut off the angle for Vinny, and he wins a free kick. Incredible work from Thomas Partey there, covering the space, cutting off Vinny on the left wing from Madrid's perspective, snuffing out any type of counterattack that Madrid could have launched there. Incredible work from Thomas Partey. Arsenal, I think, is coming out of this with a little more confidence. Madrid are going to be comfortable at this point. They've seen that there are a couple of mistakes that they can take advantage of. They're just looking for their moment. They understand they're really not going to get their goals from set plays against Arsenal. Their defensive setup is just too solid. They're not able to build up from the back. They're just looking to play the ball around in the midfield and find that ball in behind that's going to cut Arsenal open. But to this point, the only thing that's been able to open up Arsenal is basically individual errors. Flooding the midfield, trying to find those little angles, those little passes, getting the ball out to Saka here, who's had his way with Alaba so far. Alaba's not having a good time with Saka this game. Lewis Skelly taking... this is one of the things that Lewis Skelly does that is often not done, and it leads to a chance here. It leads to a double save from Courtois. 44 minutes gone. Lewis Skelly, Arsenal tended to do, before all those remember those horseshoe passes? They were kind of the beginning of Arteta's offense. Just kind of you play it around the back, you play it around the midfield to the other wing. Then the wing kind of realizes there was no space. They're going to play it back. They're going to keep playing it around, and it just created these pass passes looked like massive horseshoes. Lewis Skelly, one of the biggest things he's given to this team is in his position as an inverted left back, playing this kind of almost left 8 position in that left side of the horseshoe. He's willing to take the ball around the horn, as the ball comes to him through the midfield. He takes a touch forward, past one of their perimeter defenders, to create some pressure, to create an angle where maybe center back will step to him or an outside back will step to him, and that will release Martinelli for a diagonal or create some space for Martinelli on the outside, or maybe a center back will step to him, creating some space in the middle. He's committing defenders by beating someone in the midfield, taking the touch forward instead of taking the defensive touch backwards and then playing it back around the horn. It's one of the biggest things that Lewis Skelly has given to us is a little bit of attacking impetus, and it doesn't always come off. It doesn't always come off. It's a lot of times what he does is he steps into pressure and he kind of like almost loses the ball. But it's one of those kind of like it's kind of a harkening back to the type of football that you started off playing, where you know if you can go into the tackle solid enough, you may be able to even come away with the ball. So you don't necessarily have to beat anyone, but you can basically be solid enough on the ball where you can kind of take a touch forward. You ride a couple challenges, you come away with the ball on the other end. It seems to be a Miles Lewis Skelly special. He kind of steps in at the edge of the box. He steps past a midfielder. Someone else comes out to challenge him. He kind of muddles through with the ball, and it creates this kind of confusion on the edge of the box. And if it happens to fall to an Arsenal foot, the next pass is out to the wing or little through ball to someone who's in the center, or a little square ball to give someone an angle for a shot. And it creates this kind of little bit of chaos and confusion on the attacking end that we've been lacking for a long time in the Arsenal attack. And so that was just a great example of that there, where he kind of stepped into it, created a little bit of confusion. It came to someone for a shot. Courtois was able to save it, and then the rebound came to Martinelli, who was able to get another shot on goal. Arsenal had 12 shots in this game, 11 on goal. Contrast that with a lot of the shooting for Arsenal has been atrocious in a lot of our games this year, and we have 6 or 7 shots, maybe 2 or 3 on goal. It's this game is it seemed like they were really focused on getting their shots on target to where they needed to get to, instead of kind of being heroes. They were very disciplined with their shots in this game, which I think led to some of the extra chances that they were able to get there. You saw with Partey at the beginning, a very hard and low, on the ground, side foot. Riiice gets a shot on target. For this one, a shot on target that Courtois has to parry to Martinelli, and who gets another shot on target. So good things coming from those efforts, and creates a little bit of sense of belief for Arsenal as we're getting to the end of the half here. That hey, we're getting chances here. We are running our offense. We're getting space. We're getting shots off. We're getting rebounds. We are able to disorient this Real Madrid backline in a way that gives a lot of confidence going into the second half. And so 0-0 going into halftime. Obviously, neither team is going to be necessarily happy with that, but I think, from an Arsenal fan's perspective, you're saying, all right, we didn't get shellacked in the first half. We didn't have the game taken away from us. No kind of crazy fouls, or we've had some mistakes. We've had some mistakes that could have happened. That could have happened. We have to be honest about that. That could have happened, definitely. But we were able to get away with it, and we are definitely confident that we should be able to score 1 or 2 goals in this game based on the way that we're able to attack Madrid. So, we come into the end of the end of the first half here, a little bit of a shot from the edge of the box from Camavinga, not really threatening. Um, but that's not where they're getting their joy from. They're getting their joy from basically individual errors on the Arsenal back line, little mistakes that are made in the midfield that allow Mbappe and Vinicius to take advantage of the space in behind, which would have been the game plan for Madrid at the beginning. Um, but that's the way the game's going. So getting into halftime, Arsenal extremely confident, I would say. As I mentioned, the only chances came from basically Madrid taking advantage of individual errors. If you can get rid of those individual errors and set up attacks, there is no reason why Arsenal wouldn't be able to get a couple of goals in this game. Their backline has been shown to be vulnerable to the type of attack that Arsenal have put together. Saka alone has had 3 incredible, just just delectable balls are just sitting on the edge of the six box, ready to just be smashed home by any type of confident center forward or competent center forward, and it just wasn't there. So, we'd be looking for more of that in the second half. Arsenal fans, confidence. Anything can happen. We've seen the individual errors. We've seen um, Arsenal holding their own against the holders, against Real Madrid, against the most famous club in the world. We're feeling pretty good. That feeling of excitement is back. Where you actually care about what the outcome is, and you can see Arsenal winning this game. So as you get into the second half here, that's really the feeling. About a minute into the second half here, y'all. First little kind of ray of hope for Arsenal. They get a little joy on the outside. Rice coming in, bearing down on their Madrid defense, and they get a little chance into the box there, but nothing comes of it. Arsenal starting out the second half strong here. The crowd is into it. You can hear the Arsenal chants. Great defensive work there from Thomas Partey. Madrid found a little bit of an outlet there. Bellingham on the right hand side, attacking from Madrid's perspective. And Partey just kind of able to stay in front of him, not let him out, and get the ball out for a throw. They just showed Gabriel coming into the stadium with his crutches. Hope he's doing okay. Hope his recovery is quick. Timber just with a little kind of dummy to himself there. As the ball was coming back to him, could have been another little enforced error, but luckily he got there before Vinny did. Deliberate build up, not trying to make anything happen too quickly so far. Just a little bit of a goal kick here, and referee gesturing to Courtois, just making sure that he doesn't want to waste time. Real Madrid trying to waste time to get out with a 0-0 in the Emirates. It's a little bit of a victory there. This was something that really made me mad. Arsenal has a chance for a counterattack. The ball is played into Marino on the half turn. He turns around. He gets a little hip check from the Madrid defender and goes down. But that comes from him not having the agility and the quickness or strength to play the ball forward and to retain the ball for the offense. I got really mad during the when we were watching the game in real time. In that moment, just kind of watching him not being able to retain the ball. I mean, those are basic center forward things that he's going to need to be able to do. If you need to take the touch backward, take the touch backward, but you got to hold on to the ball for us. And if you're going to go forward, you got to have the pace and the agility to retain the ball and not be subject to a challenge like that. Just really disappointing from Moreno there. Little wall pass from into Bellingham, who with one touch was able to find Mbappe in the from a diagonal. Beautiful little passage of play there from Madrid. Mbappe able to drift back into the space behind the Arsenal defense and take advantage of the one-touch pass from Bellingham. Hits the side netting, but good chance from Madrid. Great movement. Here's Mbappe in the press. Saliba staying really composed. And here comes Vinny Jr. on the counterattack. He's already in Arsenal's box in a matter of seconds. He chooses to cut it back to Mbappe. But Arsenal is back in force, and Rice is able to cut it out. Really great work to get back and interrupt the passage of play at the edge of Arsenal's box. Madrid have to go backward and start playing with the ball again, and that's not where they want to be. Yeah, so both teams kind of starting out the second half pretty tentative, wanted to control the ball. Great step there from Timber to make the interception, but unfortunately gets back to Madrid. Oh, this was the Partey yellow card where he kind of takes really off the ball and kind of just puts his shoulder into him as he's trying to run back. Arsenal again, kind of working the ball around the back. Slow build up. Slow build up from Arsenal. Obviously, we've got Marino in the middle, kind of being the focal point for the attack. You got Rice and Odegaard kind of being those extra passes there. So maybe if they can get into Marino, he can spin out to them. But for the most part, Arsenal is finding their way in, getting the ball out to the wings, and then find a little bit of space out there because Madrid is less inclined to kind of run out and and defend those wider areas. So Arsenal's getting it into their wingers and kind of able to work it back into the midfield. And then it's up to basically Marino and Rice and Odegaard to get into the box. They almost had something that worked there where they got out to the wing and they were able to kind of one touch it, pass it in, and Rice almost had a chance on the right foot and on a good angle, but since he was able to get over and block. Here's Arsenal again on the wing. Saka on the wing coming inside, looking for the pass. Oh, and there's a little there's the foul about I would say 25, 30 yards out. Alaba kind of nipping it at Saka as he brought the ball across the front of the box, and he commits the foul. Gets into Saka's legs there, and here we go. We've got the Arsenal committee out over the ball. Conversation with Rice, Odegaard, Saka, and Kivior there. Courtois managing the wall. Spanish commentator saying it's either going to be Odegaard or Saka. Odegaard or Saka. They show Yova there. Looking at it. Yeah, Odegaard walks away, and here comes Rice. Cameras on Rice. He's checking the back post. He's checking to see, because that was the original plan. They were supposed to play this in. He strikes the ball and wheels away. The knee slide. Rice with the first Arsenal free kick scored since November 2021. Odegaard. And the Emirates erupts. All the subs over there. Ben White over there to congratulate. And Madrid are stunned. They can't figure out what's going on. Did Arsenal just score a free kick? We didn't see this in any of the tape. This wasn't on the tape. We don't understand what this is. I don't get it. Bellingham is looking there. No, obviously they'll feel that they're not out of it. And this is just it's an incredible strike from Rice. It's an incredible strike. The curve on it, the comparisons to Roberto Carlos have been made. It's completely outside of the frame of the goal until the final second. Courtois kind of doubts it, and he takes a couple of extra steps, and then he gets over there, and by then it's too late. There's too much power on it from Rice. It's an incredible free kick. It's an incredible strike, kind of waist height for the keeper, but he couldn't get down to it. He couldn't get over to it. He expected it to go wide. It didn't go wide. It snaked into the near post. Masterful strike from Rice. But I will say, the wall, Valverde should be embarrassed. He spins and jumps and kind of makes that angle a little bit easier for Rice. If he had just stood up straight and jumped, Rice still would have scored. But Valverde looking at that is going to be embarrassed when he looks at the tape of the wall. When they go over that in the briefing room after Madrid, he's going to have his teammates looking at him like, we can't be skimping on our responsibilities here. And the Emirates is now alive. We've got something to hold on to in this game. We're 1-0 up against Madrid. Declan Rice has just pulled out one of the greatest free kicks I've ever seen in Arsenal history. And let's go. Game on. And now it's up to Madrid to try to quicken their pace here. Give me 10 minutes. At this point, your coaches, everyone should be looking at each other saying, 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. No goals. No goals for 10 minutes. We're going to defend for 10 minutes. They're showing Roberto Carlos, who's in attendance at the Emirates during this. They show a little camera angle of Yoba going like this as well. I don't know what that really meant, but you don't really know what the timestamp is of that. But so Madrid was able to get a corner out of their kind of attack there, and came to Bellingham, who just kind of hit it straight at Raya, who tries to spring Martinelli on the counterattack. Martinelli chasing down Courtois, who again just has to boot it long. And it's just going to come to Arsenal on the throw again. And this is a chance for all of the Arsenal fans to kind of stand up and appreciate Arsenal back on the ball. Let's go. Looks like they're going back to their kind of methodical approach. Odegaard's found some space in behind Bellingham. Has got it out to Saka. Saka's going to take on Bellingham. He's got a double team here. Tries to get past Bellingham. Is not able to. And Madrid are back away in the counter attack. Now this is where they want to make their bread and butter. They want to counter attack quickly here, and they play it in. It's a tame pass, and Rice is able to read it. Good defending there. Back on the ball, Arsenal. Rice and Partey in the midfield. Rice bringing the ball forward. He's going to take the pass into Odegaard. Just found a little pocket of spaces. Back out to Saka. Saka's got he's got Oliver to the byline if he wants him. He's going to take him there. Tries to do it, but Alaba is able to get in front of it and cause a corner for Arsenal. And now another chance for the Emirates crowd to get up and to scream for the team. You can feel it. You can feel it. 62 minutes gone. That Rice free kick was 57 minutes. Still looking solid on defense. It looks like Arsenal is in the ascendancy here. You know, Madrid is trying to take back the mandate of trying to create something, but nothing as of yet. It's Arsenal here with the corner. Great ball in from Saka, but Courtois is just this giant and able to pluck the ball out of the air, dominating his box. Here they come. They're going to try to push it here. Trying to get their crosses a little bit longer, but it's not quite coming off for Madrid. Back around the outside, making the run through the midfield, but all the angles are being cut off by Arsenal. Rice and Partey working hard, closing down the space. Anytime the ball comes in the midfield, Rice and Partey are right there, dominating. And now the press able to get in a little bit behind the first wave of the press there. Arsenal getting back into position. They've got the ball on the wing. Here comes Vinicius. This is where he usually eats. He gets past Timber, but he isn't able to get the ball into Bellingham, and Rice is able to cut it out. Really great way to cover the spaces, cut off the angles, fill the gaps. Good work from Arsenal, being composed right after that elation from the goal, which can often lead to a little bit of head loss, a little bit of complacency. But Arsenal looks like they're dealing with the situation well. They're doing their defensive jobs. And Madrid just can't find a way in. They're passing the ball around the outside. There's no spaces for them to exploit. Again, Bellingham just tries to flick a ball in behind, trying to go for Mbappe, trying to make the diagonal run in, but it's right at Raya, and Raya comes out and gets it easily. Here's Miles Lewis-Skelly on the ball, out to Martinelli. Marino make a little run in to kind of open up the space, and Partey steps into it. Good ball through for Rice. Oh, he almost steps past Asensio and gets a shot on the right foot. That would have been a goal, but they just finally get back and get a little touch on the ball. Ah, and then Rodrigo buys a little free kick on the edge there from Lewis-Skelly, releasing the pressure on Madrid. But then they start off the ball. They take the free kick quickly, and they're not able to create anything from it. And Arsenal's got it back. This is a dominating performance from Arsenal at this point. Madrid are not able to get the ball out. They're not able to do anything on the ball when they have it. And Arsenal is the team that is able to find those quick passes, those crisp passes in behind to break down the Madrid back line. And Arsenal is looking more and more likely that they're the ones that are going to score next, not Madrid taking the mantle from Arsenal after the Rice goal. Here's Lewis-Skelly doing another little kind of trying to carry the ball through. He squirts out to Martinelli, who has a shot on goal. And then it's Marino, who also has another shot on goal. And then Marino again. Double, triple save there from Courtois. So again, we're talking about Miles Lewis-Skelly taking the chance, taking the ball forward, even though he's riding the challenge of Bellingham. He's riding the challenge of Camavinga. It squirts out to Martinelli, and he's got a shot on goal. Just go forward with the ball. Good things are going to happen. Something's going to squirt out. He gets a great save, a great shot off, a good save from Courtois. He kind of parries it basically back to the center circle where Marino is waiting. He does really, really well to get over the ball, shot on target, cleared off the line from Alaba, and then it comes straight back out to Marino. Does well to chest it down, compose himself, and get another shot off that Courtois saves well and out for a corner. But those are the types of things that Miles Lewis-Skelly is doing to create chances for this team. And here's Arsenal on the corner. Courtois is able to parry away. Rice has a shot that's going wide of Courtois, but cleared off the line again from Madrid. A kind of low shot on the ground from Rice off the corner. Here comes Saka being held. Again, riding the challenges. And Saka wins a free kick on the edge of the box. Getting frustrated here, Madrid. They're getting frustrated. Saka was able to hold the ball. This is what we were complaining about Marino before. It's like not able to hold the ball, not able to retain the ball possession for his team. Saka is. He's surprisingly strong. That's Bellingham cleaning the ball off the line. They're showing the replay of the Rice chance here. A good ball on target, a good shot on target from his left foot, trying to hit the far corner, but not able to get it past both the keeper and Bellingham, who was positioned well on the line. And then Saka, in the resulting passage of play, was able to kind of retain possession of the ball. He was being held by Bellingham, able to turn him, as Saka does so well. He's able to kind of feel the defender, turn him well, and then kind of go off, and then Camavinga was there kind of waiting to clean up, and Saka was able to touch the ball away from him, and he's got his kind of foot stuck under the challenge of Camavinga. Referee called a foul, and now Arsenal has another free kick. Dreaming of a second here. It's Rice and Odegaard over the ball here. Here comes Kivior. Here comes Partey. Asking what the situation is. Saka's there. So this one is a little bit closer to goal on the other side. The first one was kind of on the from Arsenal's perspective on the right hand side. This one's kind of on the left hand side of the goal, but got very similar kind of angles to goal, but on different sides. And so this one, as we'll see, is going to be going to have to be an in swinger from Rice if he's going to take it on the right, or it could be Odegaard on the left with the outswinger, or just kind of trying to get it over the wall. I was thinking it was going to be Odegaard in this situation, but Rice has got that look in his eye. And here comes Rice with the bomba from Rice. And the Spanish commentary just kind of freaks out there. Rice! Just a beautiful, beautiful strike. A howitzer towards the top corner. Postage stamp. Couldn't hit it any better. Power, speed, angle, velocity, whatever you want to talk about the ball. Take a bow, son. Declan Rice has turned this game into the Declan Rice show. It's a clinic. The Arsenal little wall there. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to watch. On this one, Rodrigo steps out of the way of this strike. I wouldn't want to get in the way of that strike either, because that has some serious power on it. But Rodrigo steps out of the way. He ducks out of the way. Oh, and it just kisses the inside of the outside post. You cannot hit a football any better. Arteta's reaction is literally hands on his head. He can't even believe it. Rice scoring the first two free kicks of his career for Arsenal. And Bellingham just looks crushed. From this point on, it's very, very tough to see where Madrid... Madrid can always come back from a 2-0 down. I mean, there's plenty of time left. It's only 71 minutes gone. Plenty of time. But, I mean, the emotional toll that's got to take, just having it taken out of your hands with such aplomb, with such power, with such a commanding strike. Just leaving Courtois, one of the best keepers in the world, without anything to do, grasping at air. Madrid trying to pick up the pace here, trying to put crosses into the box, not able to get anything done here. Camavinga picks up his first yellow. Declan Rice. He's done a great job in that little pocket after he scored his first goal. Did a great job kind of filling the spaces. He's done really well in the attacking third, creating space, carrying the ball, maintaining possession for Arsenal, being a part of those kind of intricate attacking moves to the midfield that were able to get the ball out to the wingers. Great performance so far from Rice. Mbappe is is in disbelief here, speaking French with Thomas Partey there. And now the Emirates crowd is in full voice. And Saka, who took a little knock on in winning that free kick, it was Saka who won both free kicks for both of those strikes from Rice on the free kicks. He took a little. His kind of foot got crushed underneath the challenge from Kamavinga. Probably a little bit of a stinger there in his foot. A little bit of you know, little bruising on the foot. Hopefully he's okay. But he did have to come off there for Trossard. So Trossard on now for Arsenal. Saka off after winning those two free kicks and those two bombas from Rice. Incredible strikes. The second one better than the first one, and the first one was incredible. I don't know if I've seen any, two better free kicks. It's hard to put into words just how perfect that free kick was. And just not only just, the placement, but the power, the force of it, I think is really the thing that gives it so much of its staying power. It's not just kind of like a very well placed free kick or like a beautiful arc to the shot. It had the placement, it had the arc, and it had just the power and the ripple of the net and just the perfect placement there. And Marino scores! Just one after the other. 3-0 Arsenal. And it's Arsenal Football Club 3-0 up on Real Madrid at home at the Emirates. First leg of the Champions League quarterfinal. And it's Mikel Merino, the makeshift center forward, never played in his life, scoring the third goal to put the nail in the coffin of Real Madrid in this game. Still time for Madrid to come back and score at least one or two to make this respectable for the Vuelta on the Bernabeu. There's a question of offside there for Trossard, but not really. It's Miles Lewis Skelly at the edge of the box. He gets it to Merino, who drops back to find the space onto his left foot to create the space for the left-footed strike to get the square ball from Lewis Skelly. And it's just a beautiful touch strike into the curve on that strike. The placement, just playing with the velocity of the ball, playing with the force of the ball. It's one of those where you don't really need, it's a first-time effort where you don't really need to put any power on it. You just need to basically create the counter force on the ball and the spin on the ball to put it into the correct place, and he did that with aplomb. That was quite a strike from Mikel Merino, one of the better finishers on the team, to be quite honest, from his DM position. Incredible turn of events here, and that came in quick succession. So the first strike from Rice, 57 minutes, a good period of kind of cautious optimism from Arsenal, where Madrid started to wilt a little bit. They tried to do what they tried to get back into the game. Arsenal was solid. They defended well. The second bomba from Rice, and that just basically crushed Madrid's spirit. And then in quick succession, while they were already dead, Arsenal is able to pull out another incredible strike from Merino for the nail in the coffin, and now it's 3-0. There's very little space on the way back from Madrid. Not because they can't get back into this game, but just their chances have evaporated. They haven't found any other way to attack Arsenal. All of their game plan was based on this counter-attacking game plan where they were going to take advantage of the space that was in behind from Arsenal. But Arsenal has been able to dominate the midfield and making those types of turning on the ball and finding the space in behind impossible. Here's a little bit of an example of that here. Streaking forward, Vinny here with Mbappe in the middle. He's not able. Too many touches on the ball. They're second guessing themselves. Vinny, he should be stepping inside and striking, or stepping inside and playing Mbappe. He's taking 2 or 3 touches that's allowing the Arsenal midfielders to get back, close down the spaces, and take them off of the ball. But the Madrid game plan basically died after the first strike from Rice. Whether that was emotional, whether that was strategic, both. I mean, they were not able to pick up any type of attacking danger again after that first strike from Rice. And then after the second one, it was basically over. I mean, they were just questioning, let's should we just keep this at two, to try to get back into the game, maybe get one back, but there was no chance, and then all of a sudden, Arsenal just took it away, and Jorginho's on the field, head and hands, for that second strike from Rice over there to congratulate his teammate. Rice is on the ground now, but what an incredible strike from Rice on the second, and what an incredible strike from Mourinho on the third. Really underrated. Will go underrated based on the two strikes from Rice, but take a bow, son. This is Rice's game. Love watching Tierney come on the field. I know we're going to get a shift from him. He's going to do exactly what he needs to do to secure any type of angles or secure any type of remontada that Madrid would try to execute. But we've only got 10 minutes left here, and it's Arsenal 3, Real Madrid, the holders, 0. And you just feel that there's no way back for Madrid now. Tierney's calm, Arsenal's calm. Ancelotti doesn't know it hit him. He's seen this before, but he doesn't. This is not what Madrid football is all about. 11 total attempts, eight for Madrid, 11 for Arsenal, 8 on target for Arsenal, 3 on target for Madrid. Oh, great flick. Great flick from Marino. Now he's feeling himself. He's feeling himself now, Marino. Little flick in for Odegaard. He wasn't able to take advantage of it, but he almost was released in. How can you ask Saka or Rice about anyone else? They've not single-handedly, they have just been part of one of the more dominant wins against one of the most dominant clubs in the world that we've seen in recent memory. This is a masterclass. Have we even said Vinicius? Like we've mentioned Vinicius and Mbappe, but the only story about Vinicius and Mbappe about this game is just being shook. It's just not being able to take advantage of any of their chances. And there's Tierney. Love this coming back to help out Miles Lewis-Skelly, because Rodrigo had gotten past him, and Tierney is there to step in and basically cut out any of the danger there. Did concede a corner, but kind of snuffed out the danger there. Tierney coming on. Great work there. And the strike from Marino is that type of strike where kind of the ball is coming across the box and he strikes it back against the grain with a little curve into the corner. And we want the fourth. We're streaming forward. We got 5 players forward. We got no names that it just came on for Madrid. We don't know who the hell these people are. Bellingham looks gassed. He's trying to get people sent off. They are shook. This is Madrid shook. Anyone wanted to take a picture of what does it look like for Real Madrid when they're shook? This is what it looks like. Miles Lewis-Skelly, he's taking on Haaland. He's taking on Bellingham. Who else? Who else for Miles Lewis-Skelly? Who does this boy fear? No one. No one. Huge from Miles Lewis-Skelly. Could have been a little bit of danger there. Obviously, I think he's getting up. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. He did put his studs into the back of Bellingham's leg there. Very easily could have been seen by VAR or sent off for something like that. We've seen it. You can see where Bellingham's coming from, but his eyes are on the ball. He's trying to get up. You could give him the benefit of the doubt there, but he's got to be careful. 6 minutes left in this one. Madrid don't know what to do. They're standing there holding the ball. At this point, if there is another goal in this game, it's coming from Arsenal. They're passing the ball around the back, getting the ball started. They're just launching it forward. Easy pickings for Kivior. Just brings the ball down, and Arsenal are back on the attack. And now they're just going to retain the ball. Golazos. 3 golazos is what the Spanish commentators are saying. They were even pro Madrid at the beginning of this game. Partey, great game. covering those spaces in midfield, stepping forward when he needed to, taking shots on, creating chances. Coming to the end of this game here, this is just party time for Arsenal. We're just going to keep the ball. We're going to stuff out Madrid attacks. This game belongs to Declan Rice. This was Declan Rice's coming out party. He had a couple of big finishes. We had the tying finish against Manchester United in the game against Manchester United. He's had a couple of great performances, but this was really the most complete performance, a complete performance in an attacking sense as well. Dominating a midfield against some of the better midfielders in the world, against the better team in the world, Real Madrid. Coming out on top, imposing our will against, in some ways, in some people's estimation, the best team in the world. And we know that they've had a little bit of a tough run of it this season, but this is Real Madrid. They're a danger at any point. And after when everyone got the draw, it was recognized that Arsenal had very little chance in this tie, and Arsenal have just turned that narrative around with this first leg at the Emirates, taking what they came to get, putting themselves on the front foot, and Declan Rice creating one of the best and most memorable games at the Emirates in the Emirates era. Marino doing his part, Saka coming back from injury, Timber dominating the midfield, Timber quieting Vinicius Jr., MLS playing his role in midfield, not allowing Rodrigo to do anything on the other side, Martinelli doing his thing on the left side, getting that confidence back, remembering that he's Brazilian and he can take people on, that he's fast, that he can beat that he can beat outside backs when he needs to. Trying to be a danger rather than just kind of taking what the defense gives. And now this team is looking pretty formidable for the return leg in Madrid. If there is any team that can do it, it's Madrid. But Arsenal have to feel confident going into that game that they can, with their defensive solidity, and just because of the way that they played in this game. Madrid threw a lot at them, and they were able to come away without too many scratches. We've got Vinicius trying to come in, gets his shot blocked. Arsenal with their defensive solidity, even with Kivior coming in for Gabriel at the back. There isn't a lot of aerial threat from Madrid. Nothing too much to worry about on set pieces. What they're really worried about is counterattacks. And Arsenal is not going to be giving away very much space or space on the counterattack in that return leg at Madrid. Obviously, they're going to have their chances. They might score one or two, but Arsenal is going to have their chances on the counterattack as well. One or two folks kind of Martinelli running the table, Saka running the table if he's back. That we could have the opportunity to hurt them on the counterattack as well. And if we get one goal there, it's over. And this is just one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen from my team, the Arsenal. One of the more uplifting nights that we've had at the Emirates, something that gives us hope for the season going forward, something else to hang our hats on, a reason to pay attention to Arsenal, a reason to pay attention to the podcast, to be involved in the community, a reason to talk to our friends about what's going on, a reason to watch the highlights, a reason to find some glimmer of hope of what's going on, to take the enjoyment out of all of this football obsession that we all have, and be a part of this community and be a part of this movement, to be a part of this beautiful game that we all get to share together. And it's just been such a disappointing year, and to have this kind of this energy at the end is really galvanizing, especially with the world the way it is right now. Got to have some good news, and this was one of the first kind of pieces of good news we've had coming out. We had that big victory against Manchester City, and we just followed it up with not doing anything in the transfer window, and that just kind of all of the momentum that we had gotten back into the fan base after that victory over Manchester City just kind of evaporated. Which kind of went back into the doldrums. But now in this competition, getting past Madrid, it's not just that we advance; it's that we advance against perhaps the team that folks would consider the best in the competition. So if we can beat Madrid, we can beat anyone. We've got maybe Inter Milan, PSG. Any of these teams that are in this stage are going to be good. But if we can do this to Mount Real Madrid, we can do this to any team, and that should give us a huge heap of confidence going forward. If we can get past Madrid in the second leg, which I think we will. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, but I think we will in the end. And then we're looking at a Champions League semifinal. Cannot look past Madrid at the Bernabeu, but we will be looking at a second a Champions League semifinal against a team we know we can beat based on the fact that we just beat Madrid. And then if we can beat this, if we can get into the semifinal, into the final, anything is possible. That's a 50-50 right there. So, could Arsenal salvage this season with something historic in the club's history? Everything is to play for. Getting that star over the badge, getting that finally a piece of European heritage in the bag, not having to shy away from any European conversations with any other rival fans. A season to remember after a season to be forgotten. And so that is what is at stake here for Arsenal. Arsenal has shook Real Madrid. Arsenal have dominated Real Madrid. Arsenal have created hope for the future. Arsenal have put belief back into the fans. And it's just a joy to watch. I'm going to continue watching the content over over this week. We'll be looking forward to the return leg at Real Madrid. Hopefully, we have more happy fan cams and happy communities to bask in after that, and we'll be talking about a Champions League semifinal for Arteta's Arsenal, for Declan Rice's Arsenal, for Saka's Arsenal. And it's just a joy to watch. A glimmer of hope in this world that is so difficult to get through right now. Can we find some joy? It's 3-0 to the Arsenal over Real Madrid. A famous night at the Emirates. Arsenal and Arteta and Ancelotti embracing. A night for Declan Rice. Two of the greatest free kicks you've ever seen. An incredible finish from Marino. We can watch these highlights on repeat again and again and again. This is one of those games you can come back in 5 years and watch the highlights again and just enjoy it. And I think we will leave it there, folks. I hope you enjoyed the watch along. I hope you enjoyed a little bit more of the analysis content. And we hope to be back with more good news in the very near future with the Arsenal and with anything else going on in the world. We're going to kind of try to keep speaking here, keep going forward, trying to keep this content going. And so we appreciate you coming along with us on this journey. We appreciate you being part of sharing this team together. And I'm grateful for anyone getting any type of joy or enjoyment from this. Watch it along with the game. Listen to the content. Listen to the other creators. Enjoy this Arsenal community. Have a good one, y'all.